Hi there, Ian Wilson from Aviation. In a previous video, I showed you the way we structure the Air Maestro platform as an example to ensure that it's supporting all of your business management systems, so safety, quality, environment, health, security. I also showed you the way we understand SMS in terms of the 4 pillars and the 12 elements. And now I want to show you how we take the data that we gather through that structural process in Air Maestro or Risk Ringer or whatever system you're using to present business intelligence to you as the accountable executive and to your senior leadership team. It's a well-known or a hackneyed sort of a comment that there's no point in collecting data if we don't do anything with it. If it just becomes a pool of information that just sits there and is useless. And we do find with clients who have been using various platforms in their business that whilst they're collecting safety reporting information or information from audits, they're not actually using it to push their business forward and advance their understanding of their own safety situation or their quality situation. And so what we do is we take that, we build those special data points in your platform and make sure that data is being pulled out, managed, used in comparisons that are meaningful to you so that you can make good, strong decisions on a live basis. In front of us here, got a demonstration dashboard. It's de-identified data and information. We've created a fake business here. I don't know what they do. They apparently fly some kind of bomber or something. So, but the dashboard itself is a good demonstration of the information that we can gather. This is the HSEQ dashboard. It's real-time information. Okay, this information was pulled on the 13th of August 2025, but this is a demo. So with your dashboard, we pull information every 3 hours. Unless you have a Power BI account, which is the system that we use to build this information platform. And in that case, you can hit a live button and update your information so that you're looking at information that's coming out right now. But this is normally a few hours old. Now, we can also access our operations dashboard, our fatigue management systems dashboard, and the Air Maestro site associated with the business from here. First page, at a glance, this is good broad information from this mythical or this a fake business. If we look at this company and we start back in 2021 before we were working with them, this theoretical company, they had a total of 16 reports submitted. They only ran a few meetings. They were doing something like 205 flight hours per report or 5 reports in every 1,000 hours. Quite a low reporting rate. And not a very broad range of information coming into the system. From this page, we can filter into various bases and have a look at that information as it applies to individual basings, and we can filter in by year. So it's just a broad overview of information and data. Clear filters and go back to the start. You can see the difference between 2021 when we had 16 reports and 2025 when we've got so far we're in September, 29 reports. We're tracking our meetings through the Air Maestro safety reporting module, so we can see how many meetings we've been conducting and the governance process working properly. We can see any high impact reports that came in as initial, high or extreme, and any that are outstanding or current. And if you hover over any of these areas, you get an explanation as to what you're looking at. 2024 was even better. So we had a broad scattering of types of reports coming in. We had a lot of governance going on, so a lot of connection and interaction between the various parts of the business. and we had a pretty good reporting rate at 67 flight hours per report, up from 200 and something in 2021. So the system works with businesses. Okay, the next page is open items. I like this page. It gives a CEO a quick snapshot as to what's happening in the important areas of the safety management system, or the quality management system, HSEQ management system, if you like, without having to dig into the platform itself. They can have a look at this on their phone in the morning, having a cup of coffee. You can see, have we got any open reports, any investigation, how many meetings have we got in the pipeline, how many management of change processes have we got running right now, and have we got any ERP exercises booked in. We can look at whether there are actions open and how many are overdue, and we can drill down into the action owner and figure out who owns that particular action. We can look at our audit situation. Are we keeping up? Have we got any in progress? Are there any due? What's coming and what's overdue? And again, we can look at the auditor responsible for that. So just a good snapshot that allows the CEO to then get on the phone and say, hey, Dave, you're a bit slow with this action. What's going on? How can we make sure that we get that over the line soon? Because as we know, the strength of the management system is in the actions that come out of it. The next page is report analysis, which is just a more drilled down, I suppose, look at the types of reports that are coming in. We can look at them across a reporting range that can be a little more precise. So, for example, March 2025, we can look at report types. We can look at reports associated with a particular base, and we can look at reports of a certain risk level associated with a certain base. Were there any medium risk reports from the Ramanjining base in March 2025? No. So we can answer those questions very easily by looking at the dashboard. And again, it's live information coming from your platform, whatever that is. We work primarily with Air Maestro and RiskRinger. So the next page is performance indicators. Used to be my favourite page. It's my second favourite page now. So the problem that businesses have had in the past is collecting the data associated with monitoring your performance indicators against your performance objectives. I know that sounds cumbersome, but safety performance objectives, indicators and targets work in a triangular relationship in accordance with ICAO recommendations. So an objective needs to be linked to an indicator, which then needs to be linked to a target for that indicator. That triangular relationship needs to be SMART, so that SMART management principle: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant and timely. It has to meet those four requirements. Each objective, indicator and target doesn't have to do that specifically themselves, but the entire relationship has to produce that SMART result. So what we've done is we've identified a group of objectives and indicators that we feel apply to most aviation businesses in Australia and the Pacific region and broader, that give you a good indication as to how you're tracking against your own management systems. And we collect data associated with quality, safety, environment, health, and security management processes. So what you're looking at here is not just safety objectives and safety performance indicators, it's HSEQ objectives more broadly. We can look at each of the so we split the objectives into three of the four pillars. Now, if you've watched my video on the structure of an SMS, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Go back and watch it if you don't, and come back here afterwards. So we use three of the pillars: risk management, promotions, and risk assurance. And we build objectives associated with those pillars. We don't worry about policies and objectives, because we're talking about documentation pretty much there. which is easy to track. So within risk management, for example, we've got a set of objectives that we've applied. So you can see what those are here by clicking on the eye. We can look at promotional objectives and risk assurance oriented objectives for the business. Within that set of objectives for risk management, we've got a bunch of risk of safety performance or performance indicators. And we've decided that reporting rate is a good indicator of performance, acceptable risk percentage, near-miss reports, risk score percentage, and processing rate are all going to tell us how we're doing against those objectives. Some of these are lead indicators and some are lag indicators. And again, that's in accordance with ICAO requirements or recommendations in association with running a safety management system. For example, reporting rate, we have a target of 15 reports submitted per 1,000 flight hours. We're currently, this mythical organisation is reaching a reporting rate across the last 5 or 6 years of 8.67 safety reports per 1,000 flight hours. So they're not reaching their target. By not reaching, the target therefore is a lead indicator. So we want to exceed the target with a lead indicator. This, under acceptable risk, we're tracking a target of 97%. So the percentage of reports submitted with other than higher extreme risk need to be greater than 97%. And in the case of this business, they're sitting at 100%. Now, as a safety manager, I get suspicious when I see 100% of anything. So I'd be wanting to dig into that and actually have a look at the reports that are coming in and see if some of them should be submitted with a higher extreme risk. But at this stage, it's in the green. So we're presenting a heat map here for accountable executives so that they don't again have to drill into the data inside the management platform to find out what's going on in their business. It's just all there in front of you. So near-miss reports, we're getting into lag indicators now. So we're happy if we don't reach the target with a lag indicator. Near-miss reports, we have a target of 2 reports submitted with a potential major or catastrophic consequence per 1,000 flight hours. So we're well under that at 0.42. Processing rate, how fast we process reports. All of these have similar sorts of data collection rules around them for lead and lag indication. Now you can see this company not looking terribly good across 6 years. And when I look at 2021, we went back and, with all of the data from the businesses we've been working with, and we've jumbled it all up, and this is what we've come up with from 5 or 6 years ago from historic reporting rates. And it doesn't look so great. And if you like, this is a reasonable snapshot of industry because we have over 20 clients at the moment, business clients. 2022 started to look a little bit better when we were working with this organisation or these organisations. 2023 looking even better. So our reporting rate's still low, but the heat map is starting to look better. We're looking a lot more green. And by 2024, looks like we dropped a couple of audits here, but that's on the safety manager, not on anyone else. We're starting to look at a really healthy system. Minimal orange, mostly green. If I'm looking at that and I'm an accountable executive, it tells me that we're pretty good, but I'm going to make a phone call about those audits or those safety alerts. I'm going to have a chat with the manager and say, hey, can we up the level there? Or do we need to change the target? Do we need to reduce the target to make it more realistic in accordance with the SMART management principles? So great page, finger on the pulse of your HSEQ management processes, real live data coming at you every day, allowing you to make great business decisions based on, strong intelligence. Now, I did say that used to be my favourite page, but ORAT data has actually trumped that. ORAT meaning Operational Risk Assessment Tool. So the reason I like this page so much is, and it was based on, the requirements for Part 138 organisations to track do risk assessments on individual tasks that are being carried out as aerial work tasks. So where in a hazard and risk management process within the risk register or the hazard and risk register, we will have task-specific risk assessments associated with, say, something like crop protection or power line inspection or firefighting or bird dogging or whatever activity is that you're involved in. We'll have a specific task risk assessment for that. And that will be generic to the operation. And it will be available to pilots. They can get in there, print it out, have a look at it. This is what the business thinks about the risks associated with the hazards associated with doing this particular task in my daily work. But how do I feel personally when I go out to the aircraft and I go to start to do that work? The ambient conditions are going to be different, and I'm going to be a different experience level to someone else who's doing that task. Might be night, might be day. So there's lots of factors that are going to affect that risk rating around that activity. So we create an operational risk assessment tool form that pilots are required to fill out prior to certain types of operation that gives us information as to how they're feeling about what they're doing. And in this way, we're actually executing the academic principles of safety too, whereby we are proactively assessing data that will allow us to change the way we do things based on trend monitoring, rather than just the reactive methodology of Safety 1, which we're also doing. We're working in a proactive space now, which is why I love this screen, because it's going to tell me as a safety manager or as an executive who owns a business where my staff think they are most at risk. And this is really great information. So we split the form into different areas. We have a total hazard score, we have human factors, weather and operations, and pre-flight planning. The pilot or the engineer fills in information, answers questions in association with each of those areas, or each of those elements of hazard and risk. And this creates a average score. The average score indicates that whether or not the pilot or engineer or whoever it is needs to then contact a decision maker in order to decide whether or not to continue with the operation or to change the way they're approaching the operation. And then we pull all that data and present it in the dashboard so we can see exactly where people think their risk is. So let's have a look. I only want to look at a date range of 2025. So that's my data set there. I only want to look at pilot number 11, how that person felt about certain operations. Actually, let's have a look at pilot 10, 1, 10 and 11. So I can hit command click on an Apple or control click on a Android, and that will give me those multiple selections presented. I've got an average risk score and a maximum score being presented, and I can see the scores against the various elements associated with hazard and risk, and the average maximum against the total maximum and the average total score. So again, great data. I can see here that we're averaging under the maximum. That's good. Where is the most the highest risk perceived in activities? Well, it's in the pre-flight planning area. So I need to dig into that as a manager and find out why. But I can also look at it in terms of clients. So I only want to see these 3 pilots working for this particular client, how they felt. Been a bit of an uptick in average risk score across March. I wonder why that is. So I can go and start asking questions, and we're suddenly doing proactive safety management based on real hazard and risk data that is live and coming straight from your crew. So if I clear filters, and then I can just go, all I want to see is hazard and risk associated with a particular type of task. when we're working for client 5 or client 4. Let's see if we can get a graph there. Working for client 4, doing task 5, this is how people feel about hazard and risk in that operation. So great proactive hazard and risk management data. Love that page. The rest of it is what it is, year versus year data. There's a little Q&A analyzer which is available if, as I say, you have Power BI account, which is only about $12 a month, I think, per account, and that allows you to ask questions of AI to get some answers, or for it to filter into the information that's in the platform and get you some answers. And we have a data table that tells us what reports and what information all of that presentation is based on. So I can say, I only want to see reports in 2025, the data there, and I only want defect reports. Okay, so I've only got one medium risk defect report in 2025, and it was in this base. Gives me an incident summary and corrective action summary, so what we did about it, and then I can drill into the platform if I need to, if I want to find out more about it. But the information is at your fingertips as a manager. So that's the HSEQ dashboard. My next video, I'm going to demonstrate the operations dashboard, give you a rest from my voice for a while. And I'm Ian Wilson from Aviation, and I hope you have a great day and stay safe out there. Cheers.